What is up, CSGs? Welcome to another episode of Rockets Talk. We just finished watching the Rockets lose to the Spurs in a very frustrating game. A lot of blame, a lot of disgusting hoops to talk about, but we'll jump right straight into it, bro. What is? You can just go because I'm really disappointed. I'm kind of pissed off, low key, at this game, bro. It was kind of nasty work to watch the Rockets and how the type of effort they put out, and I think we just got punked. I mean, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, we got punked. I feel like I'm less mad than most of what I'm seeing on Twitter. The Spurs are a big team. They're physical, right? Defensively, they're going to be in your grill. I think we're seeing a trend now of teams that increase the on-ball pressure, that have athletes, that have length. They are going to give this Rockets team trouble because this Rockets team has trouble putting the ball on the floor, dribbling, and beating pressure, period, right? So what's obviously the most frustrating is the fact that they gave up so many offensive rebounds and 50-50 balls. I call them 50-50 balls. Like there were so many, it was anybody's offensive rebound. We had a guy arguably in better position, and they just let somebody come punk them, beat them to the ball. Like the Spurs, coach speak, right? The Spurs wanted it more. They really did. A zone will put you out of position to offensive rebound, but that's not what happened tonight. Usually a zone, obviously you're giving up three-point attempts, and then you don't have a man on a man to box out, to box out, but you kind of like suck in, to offensive rebound, and then long rebounds go back to the offense. That's usually what happens in a zone. That's not what was happening tonight. Those were not the types of rebounds. Like I think it was Steph Castle late in the game. We might have cut it to 4 or 3 or something. Steph Castle bricked the three so bad it hit like the front right of the rim and just like shot down. And I think it was Keldon Johnson like just hustled and picked it up. Like those are offensive rebounds where we had somebody right there to make the play. We were just ball watching, being lazy. And some of it was, and I'm not blaming Sheppard for losing the game. He was actually very good tonight in many ways, but a lot of those rebounds that I'm talking about were just Sheppard just being too small, period. Right.
I literally just saw one on Twitter. And we'll talk about Reed. I think, I mean, the zone to me, though, it does kind of tie in with Reed. Ime usually plays zone defense for double bigs or when Reed is on the court. And I think because of the Alpe foul trouble and the lack of ball handlers, because Amen was terrible, like to close out the second quarter, and then just his decision making today was not good. Like this was in this season, one of his worst, like on ball. To me, it was too much Amen on ball. And then when he starts crashing out, it goes over and spills over to some of the other players where they feel like they have to pick up the slack. You get Jabari. There was a play Jabari ran a pick and roll with Steven Adams, which I was like, what are we doing? Like this is never that is never a good sign for your team when your initial action at the start of the shot clock is Jabari and Steven Adams pick and roll on the like 30 feet out from the basket. So it was pretty bad. And it was just Kevin Durant is like he can't. It was like there was like oil or something on the ball because every time he would get it, it would just slip out his hands. And some of his passing is becoming concerning to me. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's really. At first, I was like, okay, because I've watched KD his whole career. I'm not a KD stan by any chance, but I've never watched him enough to notice this. I noticed this passing was like I saw this during the Celtics and Brooklyn series where he saw a lot of pressure when Harden and Kyrie were out, and he was like the primary guy, and this is what he looked like. So I don't know if this is just a side effect of him getting a lot of doubles and pressure, which I assume it is. And it begs the question is, why is he the one getting the ball to start the possessions 30 feet out, seeing doubles, where to me, KD should be a play finisher, a guy that is getting the kind of a secondary kick out or some kind of the end of a play where your initial, and that drives back to the main issue that this team has, which is we don't have a point guard. As bad as the Fred VanVleet and Sengun pick and roll was, what that did for us was it gave us at least a baseline, a go-to, a standard, kind of our foundation for offense that if all else fails, we can go to old reliable, and old reliable is going to open up some things for us. It can get us a corner three with Sengun maybe, and Fred hitting that pocket pass. Sengun's 4-on-3. He's dishing, and to me, I envisioned kind of some version of that where he, instead of kicking it out to a lot of the Jalen Green stuff, he's kicking it
Kevin
out
Durant.
to Kevin Durant.
Right.
But the way we're using KD right now is like he's the main action, and I just don't understand what we're doing offensively. It was just nasty all around today.
So it's interesting. I kind of, in some weird way, love that this game turned out the way it did, because it shows you your weaknesses and it does it early, and it's establishing a trend. So it's not just like, oh, that was one game. Oh, that was OKC. Oh, that was the Pistons. Oh, it's like, oh, every good, tough, physical team you face, you have the same problems, right? 24 turnovers. They gave up 33 points off of turnovers. That's your game right there. Like,
Yep.
forget zone, forget the offensive rebounding, and obviously, like, the offensive rebounding was a problem. Forget that, though. You have 12 turnovers and you give up 15, 16 off those turnovers instead of 24 for 33, you win the game, period, right? So it all stems from not having a point guard, 100%, right? Look, you can experiment with the men. It's all great, yada, yada. I hope the optimistic folks are starting to see, like, Amen Thompson is not a point guard. He can do point guard things. He's not a point guard. And not only that, you just don't want him as your point guard. He's so good off the ball. He's like in the dunker spot, cutting to the basket. He's such a weapon. And you saw it tonight. Like when he did have success, it was like that. I'm not trying to sit there and watch and roll the dice with a man shooting threes or a man taking pull-up middies. Like, if he can become that player, that's great. But in a game, as intense as that, where every possession counts and you turn it over 24 times, not even counting just bad field goal shots that you actually get up, I'm not trying to see those types of attempts. So a man on the ball results in that. I agree with you, right? KD. Now, he's shown us he has some real gravity, right? Like against the Grizzlies, they were doubling and guys were wide open. So there is that aspect to it. I think obviously he had 8 turnovers, right? Which was just not good. He's kind of in a little funk. He was pretty efficient, I think, if I remember. I mean, at one point he was. I don't know what he finished. But the issue is the 8 turnovers. Some of it is him just throwing bad passes. Like he was trying to throw risky passes that you got to fit into a window, and I was kind of like, this is not, the possession or the scenario for that. But also some of it is them just figuring each other out. Like I think in his head he's expecting, there were some, like he did some throw ahead passes, right, where you're passing a guy open and he's going to get to the ball and then have some momentum moving forward. And guys weren't moving in, like, they just weren't on the same page. He was throwing like a through pass and they just weren't cutting for the pass. Also, I think a lot of our guys have a habit of standing flat-footed. So like KD's doubled at the top and they're just kind of like, yo, pass me the ball. And when you do that, you allow one of the guys who's doubling to immediately peel off and come in, and go and guard the guy who's receiving the pass off the double. So it's kind of like you're letting them get away with the double. And our guys need to get a habit of like moving toward the basket. Cause I think that's from what I was looking at, it looked like KD was thinking like, yo, cut to the basket. I'm trying to pass it to you so you catch it on the run. And then, there's downhill momentum. So a lot of it's just like they're getting used to each other. Reed Sheppard unlocked some of that though. Sheppard finally had some possessions where, man, he was running some nice pick and roll. He had a really nice skip pass cross court to the corner. To your point, man, if they were running pick and roll with Fred, yeah, you'd have KD on the kick out instead of, Jalen Green. And second, you'd have Tari Eason, who's on fire from in the corner, and Jabari. And theoretically, at full health, you'd have Dorian Finney-Smith as well, who's really good from the corner. So, look, it's hard to win a championship if you can't even run a pick and roll with like any type of confidence.
I think that we were on Spaces before this. DeAndre from Spaces, shout out to him. He has said that the Rockets, and I haven't confirmed it, but it's from the eye test matches, have a 0.78 or something points per possession in the pick and roll, which is one of the worst in the NBA.
Sounds awful. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not saying we were some dynamic pick and roll team last year, but the reason a lot of teams spam the pick and roll is because just the way you guard it, it opens up just at least that either corner or slot 3. And once you open that 1-3 open that up, it just forces the rotation on the defense. And if you have a roll man that can actually make plays, then it makes it that much harder for the defense to try to stop the pick and roll. And that's why we were able to close out a lot of teams in different games going to a very one-sided, lopsided pick and roll with Fred VanVleet and Sengun, because Fred really didn't add much to it. You know, I mean, he might come off and hit a midi once in a while, or go out for a flare out for a three or something. But most of it was done by the roll man. This year, without that, it really is hard because everything becomes an isolation, and it's really hard to win just one-on-one from tip off. Like, all the buckets and the looks that KD gets, I want him to get those in the fourth quarter, 5 minutes and below. Like, yeah, okay, clear out, give KD let's clear out the right side. He got it. Like, you're gonna position him, the double comes, pass it out. That's late game stuff. We cannot start the game doing that because, one, it's gonna be hard for him to get his shots, and two, he's not gonna last the whole season playing like the way he's playing right now. Like, the physicality that he's seen on a night to night basis, that's not going to bode well to me and my personally for his health. So I still feel like when it comes to our offense, they need to just run a lot of just more actions through Sengun. When he's out there, any possession where it's a Jabari dribble more than 5 or 6 times, or Tari Eason dribbling, or if a man doesn't have a clear advantage or an open lane, even him trying to explore in the paint and do like a fadeaway, those are all like turnovers to me. I mean, and we're too good of a team. We're at the point in this build of this team where exploring your game and playing like bad basketball is detrimental to the team, because at this level, you have to give at every single possession has to have the best opportunity and has to go through your best players. At this level, is this all that like exploring stuff with like maybe 2 years ago, cool, maybe some last year. If you're going to be a contender, just like with the Rockets when James Harden was here, every possession has to go through James Harden. And for us, every possession should go through Sengun or KD in some fashion before it even gets to, like, can you imagine, bro, if Gerald Green, James Harden is there, CP3 is there, Gerald Green brings the ball up, hezzy between the legs, and breaks a mid-range shot. Mike D'Antoni would have probably tackled him on the court.
Well, so look, that's the thing is, like you said, bro, that, I think a lot of fans got real enamored with this whole, and I keep hearing the word development. We're done with that, right? Like, there's a lot of value in just being really good at what you're really good at, right?
Facts.
Like, Sean Marion is an example that some people bring up for Amen Thompson. Sean Marion wasn't bringing it up and running pick and roll and playing point guard and saying clear out and like doing like bunny hop middies. Like, Sean Marion just went out there and played his game, and he racked it up, and he made the teams that he was on so hard to stop because they had the pieces they had. And then you knew Sean Marion was going to do what Sean Marion was going to do, and like, good luck trying to stop it, right? Amen Thompson in the dunker spot. Amen Thompson cutting from the corner. Amen Thompson occasionally bringing it up, handing it off, and then going to another spot. Amen Thompson crashing offensive rebounds. Amen Thompson running it in transition. He's really, really good at these things. I don't care if he has 5, 6, 7 assists. I'm super cool with the Amen Thompson that is like 18 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Like, I'm totally fine with that version of him, and the Rockets should be too. The only player who needs to even consider exploring his game is Reed Sheppard.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even need to explore his game. He just needs to shoot the ball, right? And you saw what a pick and roll did. It gave him a couple easy walk-in threes, and like, that's something we just don't have. We think about Sengun and how he can do some of the things and run offense similar in some certain ways to Jokic, right? And the numbers bore that out tonight. I think it was 25, 9, and 8, 25, 9, and 9 or something. Even Jokic has Jamal Murray, though. Like, even Jokic has a ball handler who can run a pick and roll and, just basically take a possession over. The Rockets do not have that. The only looks Kevin Durant is getting is basically a post up on the elbow, not a face up on the elbow, right? Where he just goes triple threat. And then when you factor in how he's just getting hacked and bodied, it's like, obviously he's Kevin Durant. He finished 8 of 18, by the way. He started 1 of 5. Then at one point he was 5 of 11. So he went like 4 for his next 6. And then he finished 8 of 18. So he finished 3 of 7. So, not a great game. Obviously the turnover is really bad, but scoring wise, he was fine. But yeah, the Rockets just need somebody they're going to have to explore. I think they need to explore minutes for Aaron Holiday. as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I was shocked he didn't get any burned with even with Shangun's foul trouble. I know Ime wanted to get Reed in there, and like you said, I think Reed. There was a lot of flash plays. Probably
yeah,
the best I've seen him play this since he's been in Houston was in this game, especially in the leverage of the game. And you got to see some of what they like about him. He had a couple of mid-range pull-ups off of screens. He had the off of screen 3-point shot. He had a walk-up. My favorite play was a pick and roll play he had where when he started going downhill, he paused and then just did a little skip pass late, kind of deep in the paint. I forgot to who it was, maybe to
yeah,
KD or somebody. But it was beautiful. So the only issue with Reed right now is the defense, and that's
yeah,
still a big problem. It's a huge problem. It's kind of feeds into a lot of people. Like Ime played a bad game, but it's like a circular thing going on right now. Sengun is in foul trouble. Reed is probably the best player on the court for the Rockets, and offensively, you want him on the court, but at the same time, the moment you go to your base defense, he is, it's Hakuna Matata for the Spurs, right?
yeah.
They're it's like an open buffet. They're gonna hunt him, and I think the moments we did try to go base, it's just like he just opened the gates.
Do
So
you remember the play where Harrison Barnes was like so wide open that he had like a chance to go tie his shoes and then come back
yeah,
out and shoot three? So if you watch that play back, it's Castle taking Reed 1-on-1.
yeah, yeah,
Barnes comes to
yeah,
screen, so it's a screen left for Reed. Shangun's about to shade the screen, and instead of taking the screen to Castle's right, he crosses back left. Reed gets stuck in the
yeah,
mud.
yeah. Reed got chopped up.
Shangun had to help over off Barnes. Reed was trying to recover after getting chopped, so both Shangun and Reed sucked down. Pause, and then the ball kicked out to Barnes, and they were just like, shoulder to
Yeah, I
hand.
mean,
Like
but
he's wide
those
open.
I get that. To me, having to rely on him for offense is an indictment because he's supposed to be. If you're going to get a guy developmental minutes, they're not supposed to be like crucial. To me, that's a almost an indictment on the roster construction. If Reed Sheppard having to be in the game is jeopardizing your defense, but he is so crucial to you. Only little semblance of offense that you can get right now that he has to be in the game. And
Well,
to
the
me, they
Rockets
they
rolled the
got to do
dice
something.
that Fred would be obviously there, right? And I mean, look, it was something I think we talked about. We were like, yo,
Right.
and this is when Fred was healthy. We were like, okay, they're really relying a lot on Reed Sheppard to like prove he's the backup point guard. We weren't even thinking Fred tore his ACL and he's done
Right.
for the season, right? So once and look, sometimes you take some gambles. The likelihood of Fred tearing his ACL is low, so it's like it's hard to just it just kind of is what it is.
That's
I also
true.
think they could have used more
That's true.
Clint Capella, by the way. I thought he had a good game. He's been rebounding and
Yeah.
blocking shots lately, just doing the
Yep.
things that we wanted him to do. He seems to have a knack for the offensive boards lately, recreating or creating some new possessions for the Rockets. Jabari was a no-show, by the
Yeah.
way.
After a good game, I was shocked that he just fell off like that. I think the Clint thing was tied with Sengun because usually Ime likes to have Sengun with him to kind of offset his offensive limitations with the other guys. So having Sengun there neutralizes that for Clint, and then you can still do the double big stuff. So, yeah, I'm sure he probably would have played more if Sengun wasn't in foul trouble.
Yeah, I would
Uh,
like to see like a Reed, KD, Okogie, Clint, and then one more player
yeah,
line up because it gives you defense, length, gives you a point guard so KD and Reed can work the two-man game. It gives you someone to do some, clean up dirty work. Okogie, Reed, and Clint. I don't know who that fifth guy would be. I'm thinking Tari, but Tari hijacks possessions sometimes. Maybe Jabari, but I'm talking about that as like a bench switch up lineup, not like a starting lineup or anything, but something for Ime to explore. Um, Look, again, basic basketball. When you get ball pressure, it's like establishing the run to in football to be able to pass the ball,
mhm.
right? Like you get the defense to step up and then you can go over the top of their head. When the defense steps up and they get that deep in your grill, um, if you have the ability to break that, I mean, you're going to destroy a defense. That's why teams
Yeah,
don't do it, right? Because NBA players, NBA teams typically have a ball handler that can just zoom right by, and now you got 4-on-3 once you beat those two defenders. Um, but obviously the Rockets don't have that, so I don't know what they do. But I think they do have to get Aaron Holiday more involved. Just the problem is he's just as small as Reed. He's a little more scrappy, a little more physical. Um, Sengun did a good job on Wemby though.
Yeah, he did.
I thought the Rockets in general did a good job on Wemby, and Okogie continues to play very well. By the way,
Okogie is a bright spot. I think he plays his role. I just feel like for us to reach our peak, I don't think this team, obviously, I don't think they're ready to compete for a ring, like to go win a ring. They still have some maturing to do, because even you look at OKC, the way their hierarchy works, even the young guys, because you would say, well, they're young. I mean, the young guys on OKC know their roles. Like even Chet is not going to try to go above and beyond what they want him to do. Chet is going to hit his catch and shoot threes. He's going to block shots, and he's going to rebound. And you might get an ISO here and there or a little pull up. I just feel like for the Rockets this season, we need to see growth on a individual levels, but also as a team and their dynamic. The fact that guys are looking off Kevin Durant is concerning to me. That Reed and Amen and Jabari and all these guys can dribble the ball up the court, have an open KD clapping for the ball, look at him and look away. I mean, that is just nuts to me. Like seeing that happen. The hijack possessions still being a thing. They need to, for them to reach their peak, they need to clean all that up. But I mean, like you said, the positives, I think what I saw from Reed Sheppard today is something he can build off of, because you can tolerate some of the defensive lapses if he is actually running the offense. Because there are a lot of players that just are not good defensive players, but you tolerate them because they do so much more. So if he can keep trending in that direction, then yeah, that's going to be a great development for the Rockets. I still think that even though he's smaller, he shouldn't be as bad of a defender as he is. I didn't peg him as somebody that would be lazy. I don't think it's laziness. I don't know what it is, but he's just not.
He's not physical. He's finesse.
Yeah, he's very kind of. I guess maybe it's just weakness as a young player. He probably just needs a couple more years of NBA development.
I mean, look, there's a difference between having good hands. Like people are like, oh, his steals and his blocks.
Yeah, I hate that. That's
like he's really good. He has great hands, man. But like that doesn't matter if you get manhandled. Like you can make some plays here and there,
right?
But he needs to play. He needs some resistance. He needs to play with some resistance and physicality, right? Like you'll see Aaron Holiday in there again. He's not a great defender, but Aaron Holiday will actually like throw his whole body weight into somebody and like it works sometimes.
Yeah. I just think he needs time. It needs time. But the hands thing, like guys, if you guys are gonna tell him, that's not. I don't care about steals on defense. Like if you're allowing your guy to get a paint touch and warping our defense, then you're not a good defender. I don't care how many steals you get, because they don't think about all the peripheral impact of you letting your assignment just walk into the paint. Because now I got to come help. Okay, now the big man is free. He's getting offensive rebounds, or he's getting passes down low to just dunk it. Or now if the weak side comes to kind of pick up that assignment, the threes are raining on you. So it's not just the fact that your guy isn't scoring. If you're letting your man to come into the paint, it's not. But Sengun, I think, real quick, I wanted to talk. I think he had an up and down game. I liked how he finished out. I think towards the game went on, after he got back in from foul trouble, he managed not to foul out. I think probably on a one-on-one basis, he's probably this whole season, he's probably guarded Wemby one-on-one with no gimmicks the best I've seen any player. And I don't know how, but I just feel like, I guess because he has good foot speed and he's kind of thick, so he would be, I guess, ideal, because he's not as small as some of the smaller guy gives Wemby problems. But I think just mano a mano, no help. He did a great job down the stretch. We were this close, bro. And it's just a couple of rebounds here, a couple of kick out threes that they had. We could have still won this game. So it just seems like we're always right there.
That's why I say I'm not like that worried about it. And that's why I'm like, schematically, it's like, again, so okay, let's think of it like this. By the way, I want to say this before I forget. Reed's defense on the perimeter is what people tried to say Sengun's was like 2 years ago. If you're a defensive liability on the perimeter that warps your entire defense, that's what that looks like. So just so we're clear on that, right? So the Spurs finished 18 of 45 from three. That's 40% on the nose, on the dot. Not good for the Rockets. I think it was either halftime or at one point in the second half, but I think it was at halftime. The Spurs were 12 of 28 from three. Okay. So that means they finished the game from the point they were 12 of 28, which I can't quite remember, so my bad. They finished the game 6 of 17 from 3, which is like just, I don't know, maybe
Right.
35%, something like that, right? It's not that great. But 2 of those threes came off of offensive rebounds late in the game that were kicked out for a 3. So if the Rockets take care of business, the Spurs, just on those 2 offensive possessions alone, let alone all the other ones they blew, the Spurs finished 4 of 15 from 3, right? Which is like, I don't know what that is, but it's not good. It's like just
Right.
barely over 25%, right? And they possibly win that game. So I say that to say, like, the zone was doing its job when it needed to, but the Rockets did not do their job. I tweeted this. I think they just failed to execute basic fundamentals. 24 turnovers, gave up as many offensive rebounds as they did, just sheer hustle. There was one, I want to say it was in the first half, was it? Do you remember which way the Rockets went? Like, if you're watching the TV, did they go left in the
I
first
think they
half?
were going from left to right to start the game. And I feel
Left
like
to,
they were going from left to right to start the game, and I feel like they were going right to left to end it.
I think it's
So,
the opposite. Either way, right? Because
maybe,
I'm pretty,
maybe you're right. Yeah, it's the opposite, right to left. Yeah,
regardless, beside the point. But there was a possession where Steve Adams tips. It's an offensive rebound. Steve Adams tips it, and I forget. I think it's like Reed and Jabari are right there, and they just kind of like watch the ball for a
yeah.
second.
There was a couple of those. It
Yeah,
felt
and
like.
someone just swoops in, and boom, they go coast to coast, and it's a bucket. Like, there's too much of that happened, where I call those are 50. It's a 50-50 ball, right? If you're like locked in, you get to that ball. The Spurs punked us. It's going to be matchup specific, man.
Yeah.
The Thunder, the Spurs, I don't know, maybe the Warriors. They're not the same type of defensive team, but they are very physical and like ball pressure in your face. Basically, physical, tall, athletic teams. They are going to give us trouble because you're not going to be able to hide Reed and play him, right? You might be able to against like Denver. You might be able to against the Lakers, for example. So it's just going to be matchup specific, but they're going to have to solve that problem, or they're going to have to scheme something up to live with Reed on the floor that is not zone. He is, to my surprise, isn't he like a coach's son or something?
Yeah.
To my surprise, that young man either doesn't know or forgot how to like function at the top of his own.
He's frozen. I hate we're talking about him this much.
I know.
He freezes up, like his reaction time is very slow. Now I'm sure it's obviously the NBA. He's the youngest player out there. I get it. But it does get magnified in these big moments because, like I said, this is a team that's ready to compete. But it just speaks to like what we're lacking on the roster right now, where you're expecting. I don't want to have to expect anything from Reed Sheppard, but for him to be like, oh, that was a good game from him. That was nice. I don't want him to be like the reason we're winning or losing. Not yet, anyways. In the future, yes, he's going to get there. But to me, this game was not really about Reed. It's more about the collective team. And the fact that he was in that position is just showing you how bad the rest of the guys were, that Ime was like trying to force Reed to be like bring home the victory, like, which was nuts. I think Ime had a bad game, just as a coach on the X and O's. To me, I would have, like, even with Reed or whoever lineup, after I seen the Spurs start picking it apart like they did, I would have just blitzed all those ball screens and just live with that. To me, it would have been better for me to rotate and force the worst shooter on the Spurs to take a grenade three than just to let them, just like you said, be able to tie their shoes, line up the ball, and just shoot wide open threes in that zone. Because that zone is the most basic. It's not even as exotic as what we were doing last year, where I've seen last year Fred and Dylan in there with the guys. They would be able to switch in and out from a match zone to the regular 2-3. They would also have possessions where if it broke down, they can go to their base in the middle of the possession and just switch to base and communicate that. They're not doing none of that this year. And obviously, I know there's a bunch of new guys. Guys have different responsibilities. So maybe it's going to take time for them to get to that level. But right now, this version of the zone they're running, I feel like the NBA is caught on to it. And this is not going to be the only team that's going to exploit it, not only on the rebounding, because a lot of our bigs are in no man land. Especially, I do have something I'm noticing. Teams that run their bigs can be on the perimeter do exploit us in that zone. Meaning Wemby can be out at the 3-point line. Detroit used what's his face, the aggressive dude, Stewart.
Stewart.
They put him at the 3-point line, and OKC had Chet, and that really does kind of make it where Steven Adams is not as effective because his matchup. It's usually he's good to like box out and take like one or two guys, but when they're so spread out, if the other players aren't really keen on their assignment and getting on body, it does neutralize some of what he does. So I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no, because in the zone, it's like obviously you're in the zone, right? So like even if the big is out, that's not his assignment; it's the perimeter assignment. But I think the zone, a lot of it, and I mean, we're all guessing here. We're all trying to figure out like why there's so much zone. I think it's got something to do with preserving legs, keeping guys like fresh as he can. Because these guys are playing way too much, way too many minutes. We've blown a few teams out, and we got to rest some of these guys. But I'm trying to pull it up now. But I'm pretty sure Sengun, KD, and Amen all played like 37 plus.
Let's see.
So I think there's some element to it where he's just trying to like make guys get some. Yeah, okay. KD played 37, Sengun 36, Amen 39. Nobody else played 30. So there was a lot of minutes spread out. Jabari 27, Okogie 25. Honestly, man, at this point, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Okogie might have to play more. Sorry, Eason.
What was his minutes? Okogie 24, 20, yeah. Reed 26. I think that's the most minutes he's ever played.
Yeah, well, this season I think it's the most off the bench tonight. He played basically just as many minutes as Jabari.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the zone thing, it's cool in stretches, but to run damn near 3/4 of zone in the NBA is insane.
Hey, but let me push back though, because like I'm not crazy about the zone. I don't disagree with you about trapping the ball screens and then just forcing like threes over closeouts. But if they just get those rebounds, that not the ones where like, oh, they're out of position from a zone, but rebounds they should have gotten. I mean, they're right in that game. And again, that zone has nothing to do with the zone didn't lose them the game. 24 turnovers lost them the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to me, but like watching the game, it was apparent that the Spurs planned for this, and they had their alignment correct for it.
They were beating them up, man, and then they closed that first half so poor. Like that changed everything. It was 50-39, and then they just
I don't know. Personally, I just feel like something that we talk about like the death lineup for the Warriors. It's not the death lineup if you play the whole game with it. Like the impact of us going double big, for example, of us playing the zone is to give a different look to these teams so that we shock them and then we can go back to something else. But when you become reliant on your trick, then it kind of loses its steam. And I feel like, obviously we're saying this, the Rockets are just, I think I don't know if they're still the number one offense. They probably are.
I don't think so after tonight.
Yeah, maybe not. But I'm seeing like, and like you said from game one, I can watch them and see them be good and still know like if they were in the playoff series against the wrong matchup, they could be a first round exit.
Yeah, they could be.
So that, and which is, but
look, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll just agree to disagree on it, but I'm telling you, okay, so what are their three losses? OKC, Detroit, Spurs, right? The Detroit game, they just got out physicaled. I don't even think their turnovers were that bad. It was just ugly basketball. But that was also the second game of the season. They had not started Okogie yet.
Right.
And Okogie, if you remember in that game, was like awesome in the third quarter, brought them back. And then for some reason, Ime benched him, which I thought that was a bad decision. So Detroit's a little bit of an outlier. Spurs, Thunder, 24 turnovers in each of those games.
Ball pressure, yeah.
Right. And obviously the Thunder game, they could have won that in regulation. KD missed a free throw. By the way, they were 19 of 21 from the free throw line. So looks like they're a much better free throw shooting team, but we'll see. But yeah, 24 turnovers in that game and then 24 turnovers in this one. I mean, that like to me, it's that. We can like the zone is upsetting when the game is close and like we keep failing to capitalize and we need another stop and then boom, they hit a big three. So I mean, I don't disagree with that. I do think there's some element of like, man, I can't gas these guys out, especially Amen Thompson and KD. So I think, and Sengun, I mean, all three of them, I think he's just trying to like let them like get a breather and not have to put the stress on their body of chasing somebody and fighting through screens and all that. Just a guess.
I mean,
But
they did it last year, so but maybe you're right. I'm not sure. I feel like it's a necessity of his what he feels the roster construction is and what he's trying to do. But we'll
we
see.
still do have the number one offense.
They still do.
Yeah, they still do. Their net rating dropped. There's number 3 net rating. We were like plus 13 or something. Now it's plus 9.7.
Okay. I mean, it was a great game though. I feel like we're at the point where every team that's good is gonna it's gonna be one of those games where it's gonna come down to the wire, and it is great to have that feeling again. There's one thing to be like the underdog in a big game, but to be where you feel like you belong on some of these big stages, and the games have that much gravity, and you know the whole country's watching. Yeah, I feel like that there's still a lot for this team to develop over. I'm not worried about Kevin Durant. He's going to go through the coming to a new team, figuring out where I'm supposed to be type thing, and they'll work through that. I'm hoping as the season progresses, they kind of find out what their hierarchy is. I want to see more KD and Sengun pick and roll. I'm not sure why that wasn't explored as much, but we'll see. I think the biggest thing I could take away from this game, even though it was all the negatives, I liked Reed Sheppard's offense. And if he can be, because if he can be like his development arc of like some of these younger players, like I remember when Steph was young, he used to get pushed around like that on defense. I'm not saying Reed is going to be Steph, but if he can work his offense to a point where he has a steady dose of what he brings shooting, the pick and roll ball handling, and then builds his body over the years. Hopefully he's not somebody that you can he's somebody that you can trust. Hopefully he's somebody you can trust in closing moments, because if him and Sengun and him and KD can develop some chemistry, that opens up a whole new door of offensive sets that we can run, and things that you could look at as far as like what we actually need. You can take a man off the ball and all this other stuff. But yeah, man, tough loss, but
I do also want to say, of everything we said about Reed, obviously, I think both of us understand that it's just not fair to Reed to be relied upon this,
he's too
heavily,
young.
right? But we have to call it how we see it, because the Rockets are trying to win right now. So it just is what it is. And I got this comment earlier. So I do not think Reed Sheppard lost the game for the Rockets. I think it was actually, he gave them a chance to win.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just have to believe, I got to believe that there's a defense they can scheme up where they can live with him on the floor. There has to be.
I mean, show and retreat. I mean, do the JJ Redick special. I haven't seen them try that.
Yeah, I mean, just pick somebody that you can shade off of and have help behind you.
Yeah, just have him
force the ball around.
And if they try to screen him, just have him just show real quick and then get back on your assignment. And I don't think there's a lot of players that are that deadly as screeners that you would just be scared to quickly peel off of. So there's ways, but I think he's just so behind on defense, not only physically but mentally. He looks a step slow.
He does.
Ime is just trying to keep it easy for him.
His anticipation is really bad. Like his anticipation with his hands is very good on defense.
You know what's funny? He was like, let's leave Reed alone. No, let's get it a little more.
But yeah, he's really bad at, like, when a player's trying to make a move, he just kind of like watches them make it.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I know, right? I also want to see them run more men inverted pick and roll with the men and Sengun.
I don't know where that went. That was there last year.
Yeah,
they did a
Sengun
couple
with the ball.
Where men got a lob. I remember he got a lob off of that one.
Yeah, the KJ time. Martin special. Last point I'll bring up that I think has not been talked about a lot. The bench scores. The Rockets bench scores.
Yeah.
Last season, I don't know what the stat was, but like the bench was not. You could not rely on last season's bench to score. This season, I just went through it while we were on this pod real quick, so my math might be wrong. I think the least amount of points the bench has scored so far this season is 19.
That's good. No, that's
good, bro. Yeah.
I mean, last year our bench was Tari, Cam Whitmore, Baby Reed Sheppard, and Amen. Didn't he starting at some point, right?
Yeah, there was some Amen and like Jabari.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, there. I mean, the bench is much better this year.
I think Jayshawn Tate came off the bench a while.
Yeah, he played a couple games. I think Kogi in and out the starters, then or one of the Tari or Reed now starting to get his footing. So I feel like we could probably add one more player as far as from the bench to either it's going to be Holiday or somebody just to come in and see what they
Well,
can do.
it's going to be Dorian Finney-Smith when
Oh
he's
yeah, when
healthy.
DFS comes back, that'll help. He
Also, by the way, 13 to 27 from three. Like they're shooting not enough volume, but they are shooting well from three. It's been a consistent thing so far. And Dorian
yeah,
Finney-Smith should only
which
make that
is
better.
weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
The quality of their 3-pointers are pretty good. I'll say that. I think that the volume needs to go up. I feel like if they ran more pick and roll, it would go up because you would just naturally generate a lot of threes with the principles of guarding that defense. But I'm sure there's a lot of doors they could unlock. And like you said, this was probably good for them to see. And these losses are good for them to see early. They just came off of 5 wins. I still think that they're going to be a top 3 seed in the West. And if we play this, go ahead.
Keep going.
If we play the Spurs, like we play them 4 times, I feel like we'll probably beat them the next 3 because I really didn't see anything that they did. They didn't have Fox, but
man, I think honestly Fox would help us because you run the zone harder with Fox, right? And like they have more shooters on in place of Fox, but maybe that's coping. I don't know. By the way, we didn't talk about Sengun stuffing Wemby in a locker like 3 times.
Yeah. I mean,
that was awesome.
Why do he did that, then Ime benched him. I know you have your minutes, but you got to feel it out in the game, bro. Like to me, that was like, I'm going to establish dominance on you and either make you foul. Because he got him to 5 fouls, and then like we didn't even try to get him out of there, bro. Like we could have got Wemby. I would have mercilessly attacked him. Yeah. I don't care if he blocked me every play. Like we down this, you know what, bro? Here's where the pick and roll comes in. Bring Wemby up to screen and get him as a big in a pick and roll, and just let Sengun just barrel into him, like 5 times in a row, and just see what. But yeah, that was I like what I'm seeing from Sengun. The touch is hit or miss. He seems like he's kind of still figuring that out, but just his control.
He was on from 3 early because
earlier
in the season.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm telling you, earlier he would just whip it. Lately,
he's thinking about it now.
He's doing the slow. It's not even thinking about it. He's just doing he's trying to like perfectly time it and it's just that same old shit it was in the past. Earlier in the season, he would just get it and just like boom, like natural motion,
walking up into them, but.
Yeah. So, and he's just got to do more of that, but he's not. So, but his free throws are better. 4 or 5 tonight again. So
his free throws are good. The defense has been legit. Not even teams don't even think to attack him on the perimeter anymore. Like they don't.
That's fiction at this point.
Yeah, they don't even like. I'll see guys. They'll pass it. A guard will have it. Look at him and just pass it out. Like so, it'll I feel like they just need to figure out their hierarchy. I want I'm going to challenge Ime to get KD better shots. But
how do you do that without a point guard though? That's the problem.
DHOs, possibly some pinch posts.
People are complaining a lot schematically and all that. I just want to it's hard.
It is.
Like I said, even Jokic has Jamal Murray out there to get east and west off the bounce, and if you step up, he can go by you, and he's got a great floater game and great midi game. You got to have someone. It's kind of like how Chris Paul was a perfect complement to James Harden, right? You got to have someone who can operate in the space that is being left open. Right now, we're conceding that space, and there's nobody that can do anything about it, right? Mm-hmm. We're conceding we're getting doubled at half court. There's so much space behind these guys,
much space,
but you can't competently get there. So they gotta. And then again, people get mad at Ime, but some of them passes KD was throwing, some of those turnovers, some of the passes Amen was throwing. KD threw a lob. This was wild. KD threw a lob to Sengun over Wemby. I was like, what? And it went in. And he got fouled.
It did win it. I thought that might have been his first. Has he ever caught a lob?
Probably 1 or 2, but
I can't even remember in his whole career in the NBA that him ever catching a lob.
I was like, what are you thinking? And it worked, but that
was such a bizarre play, bro.
I'm just saying we can complain about Ime and this, but man, what are you going to scheme up? You post up Sengun, he gets doubled. And that's the best I can think of is you post up Sengun and he gets doubled. I tweeted about this the other day. The Rockets have 2 guys who are getting doubled. Problem is one of them is tonight. It was a problem. Previously it was not a problem, but tonight one of them was KD. And that took us totally out the game because the Spurs have length and physicality and all that. But they have to leverage the fact that they have two guys that get double. You know what Ime needs to do is Ime needs to say, all right, Jabari Smith, you do not dribble the ball up. Amen Thompson, you are not a point guard. You're going to bring it up. You're going to hand it off to somebody and go get in your spot. And they need to really outline the roles, right? And the focus needs to be, these are the sets. This is what we do. Inverted pick and roll with Sengun. Post up Sengun. If the double comes, move it around. And like someone has a shot, attack accordingly, whatever. KD on the elbow. KD and Sengun pick and roll with Sengun as the ball handler. Like they have to have defined attacks because against the good teams, at least.
Yeah.
Because the good teams are going to design, they're going to force them to do something over and over. And so far, it's not working. Also, the zone, and I'm going off. We can wrap this up. I apologize. The zone. Frank has to go to sleep. I'm keeping him up. The zone. It worked against OKC until the very end. They were 13 of 52 from three, 25%. So it's like it's easy to complain about these things because when we end up losing, in your head, you remember the three went in because we were in zone. But like basketball you got to play complementary basketball. 24 turnovers is going to lose you just about any game you play. So.
All right, we can end it there. I didn't like the zone today. I don't give a damn what you said, bro.
I hear you. It's okay. I'm not I'm not advocating. I'm just saying.
I know. But if you guys are frustrated like me, let Roosh know in the comments and in the chat that the zone is bad. No, I'm playing, but I'm with that. But what is our next game? Who do we play next? Because if I'm trying to.
And by the way, our defensive rating right now is like 111 something, and last year it was 110 something. So we play the Bucks on Sunday.
Oh boy,
we play the Bucks. Damn.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Giannis, I feel like we probably match up good against them.
I don't know, man. They got Gary Trent Jr. They got unless they got Kuzma out there.
Is that a team you could run a zone against?
I'm trying to think. I can't even think of their lineup right now.
They have a bunch of random. They do have some
Rollins.
Shooters.
Let me see. So it's Miles Turner. I keep forgetting Miles Turner is on the Bucks. Tonight,
Rollins, Gary Trent.
They shot 16 to 39. Yeah, Rollins is shooting 4 of 6. AJ Green's a shooter. Yeah, bro, they can shoot. They're not.
They can shoot. Yeah, Miles Turner can shoot. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough matchup. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be a tough matchup. This is going to be a tough matchup because they can
go double big too.
They can go double big, and teams that can go double big with us give us issues because it's.
By the way, I'm having like a mental breakdown every time I hear double big. Center, power forward.
Yeah, I know, right? You mean regular basketball,
right?
It's double big now because it's 5 out spacing. But now that game is going to be interesting because it'll tell me something because I don't know if they have a dominant guard. Usually that kind of guard role is what kills us, even though the Spurs didn't really have one either. So I wonder what adjustments. I feel like Ime will probably try to go zone against him because Giannis is technically a non-shooter and you could kind of cheat off of him a little bit. But he is such a freak at getting in the paint that the slightest crease, I don't even know what they're going to do in this game.
I think you have to have a body on him at all times because if he's like, you can cheat off of him, but he can also just get to the basket at will. So, and I mean that like off the ball, right? If you're like out of position and he catches it deep in his zone, it's one dribble and a dunk. So,
all right. Well, listen. I'm about to pass out over here. I appreciate y'all. Y'all let us know in the comments and in the chat. What is your thoughts on the zone? Who did y'all think, was the player that at least had a decent game or had a bad game? Let us know in the comments in the chat. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. Keep rocking with the Chop Shop. We're going to keep dropping that.